Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's a Friday live. I got Matt Fargo with me here for some college basketball. And listen, if you want to do some live degeneracy, I'm sure Matt would jump on board. He looks like a degenerate kind of guy. At least 3 days a week, he'll probably jump in some nonsense like this, live betting, in-game Liberty tennis ball. Listen, like, share, subscribe, notification bell on so you know each and every day when we come in with our free pick videos here with Matt and Brian Biller, Chip Chirimbus, Doug Upstone, and others, Kyle Hunter. We do free picks here Monday to Thursday, live shows on Friday. And there's that. That's the free pick pitch to you there. So hit the like, notification bell, comments on for the live show here. You want to get in? We'll talk about some of these more marquee games if you want to dip into other ones. So be it, but I'm not going to have a banner or a little ticker running for those. I was just trying to load up the big game stuff. We are sponsored, as always, by GamblersWORLD.net, so head over to GamblersWORLD.net. Listen, the easy sponsor thing you can do to help out is hitting the like button and sharing and getting the algos up and getting us into other people's views. But if you want to take a step further, support financially, head on over. We can buy premium picks from me, Matt, and others every single day. College hoops, NBA, hockey. Next Thursday, you don't even have to buy my Cubbies pick because I'll give it to you. I've been giving it to you for the last month. Telling you to take the Cubbies, and the lines come down. They're watching. The streets are watching. They're known to take the Cubs against the Dodgers next week. And the articles. Doug Upstone puts out his little shoot the rock for NBA and college hoops, and I'm sure in another week and a half there will be some baseball articles coming up with weekend series and maybe first five trends or who knows. I don't know. I'm not in Doug's head. He's a Cubbies guy, so I don't know what goes on over there. A lot of pain and suffering. So we'll give him a little pass. All right, Cubs fans. Probably the White Sox fans should get a pass too. I guess, Matt, with the way things looking for them this year. But what do you say, fella? How was last night? I finally, I was doing a show last night, and the Louisiana Tech game was playing. And they had them plus 2.5, and it was a tie game with like a couple seconds left. The guy drills a 3. So they go to the replay. The shot is up with like 0.8 seconds. Like the shot is clearly away. So I'm like, what the? This is terrible. I said, another half-point loss. That would be, I think, number 9 or 10 in the last week for me. That was a half-point to a 2-point loss. And I'm stewing because I'm down, I think like 7 games under 500 over that time going into last night. And 9 of them are these kind of horrible losses. Or 10 games under, and I got 9 horrible losses. Or maybe a week, two, maybe a weekend, whatever the case may be. They've been bad, close losses. Then I'm watching the game like, what the hell's going on here? Was there a timeout called? What's happening? Apparently the shot clock ran out with a second left. So he got the shot off before the final buzzer went to 0, but the shot clock was expired. So I get a second shot. It goes to overtime, where I think my 2.5 is going to die. It's again tied. Mid-Tennessee comes down. I'm hoping for just a layup. No. There's a mad scramble for the ball. I'm thinking, oh no. Double overtime. You're kidding me, right? Double overtime. Up to 4 seconds left. The bad guys, Mid-Tennessee. So I'm trailing here. We take it to the rack. We miss it with 4 seconds to go. They don't call a foul. They call a jump ball. Clearly a foul. This little 6-foot guy is on top of a 6'8" guy from Italy. They call it a jump ball. So I'm like, oh, it's over, right? I mean, they're going to go down there, hit a free throw. I'm going to lose by 3 or 4 points. This is the way it goes down in double overtime. Now we inbound. Heave something up, and I end up losing by 2. You know what that is, man? That's a never-in-doubt winner when you get something like that. Double. I was like, finally, I'm hoping the worms turn a little bit, so I'll take a winning day yesterday, but it was a little frustrating.
I had Middle Tennessee minus 1.5, so we both won that one. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch that game. I was just scoreboard watching on Score the app, and it looked like no team was up by more than 2 points in either overtime. I don't know if that's true or not, but every score I saw was like two this way, 1 that way, 2 that way. It seemed like it was close. Right. So yeah, I guess we both won that one.
That's a good number.
Yeah, as I was saying pre-show, the day started off with a miserable game with Duquesne, They're up covering the whole game, up by 9, 7 minutes left, 5 minutes left, something like that. Up by 7 with 4 minute timeout, and they get outscored 15-0 in the game. So that was a brutal start to the day, but we recovered, going 6-4 after that. So 11-7 the last 2 days. I have a 3-pack going right now. Started with Oregon, who I just turned the TV on. They're down 10. Not good. Bunch more action tonight. Great day of basketball. Great day.
I have nothing going early today. As you see here, if you're watching, started yesterday, a little flash sale. We knocked $100 off of the All Access College Basketball package here. So everything is $199 through the big dance. That's all college hoops, folks. Now, if you want to go a little deeper there, the 30-day pass is a little more, but it's also guaranteed. And it's all sports. So if we don't show you a profit, you get credited back on that. VCU's up pretty good here. And I thought, that line was a little high. And I hate these early games with 10s, especially 11:30 tip. You're thinking, all right, maybe start a little sluggish. You get in trouble with those kind of games.
Yeah.
But they were just so much better than the rest of the Big Ten this year. And, they're up 14 here. Again, it's close, right? If you got a 10, you get 10 and a half, 11, you're thinking, I got a shot. But VCU looks pretty good. I mean, you're gonna roll out 26, 27 wins before the tournament starts. That's a nice season there for them.
Yeah, they're the cream of the crop of that conference for sure. And if they end up losing, would they get in that large? I don't know if they would or not.
I think they should. How the hell we're going to get 15 seed Texas in there from the SEC?
I think they should as well. But the problem is, like you just said, they're going to put. Yeah, I mean Texas is already in with that win yesterday. That pretty much got them in. And Oklahoma's in. Even though they lost against Kentucky, they lost by 1 last night. So they were in to begin with. So yeah, the SEC right now is looking at 14 teams, which it's unfortunate. Could knock VCU out. It could knock the loser of UC Irvine, UC San Diego out from the Big West, assuming they face each other tomorrow, which I assume they will.
Getting win it, and they're getting in, and they're 18-14. You're going to have a 26-6 team not get in.
Right.
That's where we're at in college basketball.
Yep.
For Texas to get knocked out in an 8-9 game, for them to lose to somebody, for them to lose to somebody out of Mountain West, they're losing. I'm not. No way, Texas. It's a joke. It's a joke that those teams are even in it. I mean, what? They play better teams. Are they better teams? Because from Arkansas, Mississippi State, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Texas, Oklahoma, they have 8 and 6. They're all under 500 in the conference. How good are they?
It's a good argument. Like, is UC San Diego, who is 28-4, played a very, very soft schedule, obviously. Are they better than a 19-14 Texas who plays a tough schedule in the SEC? It's a good argument. I don't have the answer. I always root for the underdog. I want UC San Diego in as opposed to Texas, but people don't see it like that. The committee doesn't look at it like that. They look at, I think, strength of schedule more over just actual winning. And winning, I think, is most important when it comes to situations like this when you have like a tiebreaker type situation, one team over the other. I don't know.
I'm trying to think where, VCU, you lost to New Mexico, you beat Colorado State. You lost to Seton Hall, which is terrible.
That's a bad loss, yes.
But if you're going to say crap like that, then you got to say when a team loses to, like, South Carolina is a bad loss. South Carolina has 12 wins on the year. I don't care that's the SEC. You're telling me South Carolina going to Mountain West and go 13-5. No, they're not. They're not going 13. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is, VCU should be in regardless. You win that many games. I don't care who you're playing. You still have to win.
Absolutely. And like what you mentioned the Seton Hall game, that was back in November. I think they kind of throw the early games out to an extent. They don't count them as much. They look more at like current form as opposed to some of these, silly non-conference tournament games that happened, 3 or 4 months ago. So something like that, I don't think should hurt them as much, but I'm not on the committee, so I have no say in it.
San Diego lost to San Diego State by 5, first game of the year. Getting 10, they covered on the road. Lost to Seattle, who I think is in the WAC semis at least.
Yep.
Or finals even, right? I mean, they're
semis. Yep.
And you lost to Irvine and Riverside. And Irvine is 17-3 in conference, the number 2 team. Again, they're 27-5. They're not going to get in. Like, both of these teams might get in, not in with like 30 wins or 29 wins. That's crazy.
Right. One of them will get in, obviously, because of the automatic bid, right? And if I'm looking at the Lunardi's bracket right now, he has Irvine as the 6th team out behind Ohio State, Dayton, Colorado State, Indiana, and Boise State.
I mean, listen, you want to put Boise in. I'm not going to say no to Boise, Colorado State, that kind of the Mountain West kind of crew. I get it. Because then I'm just nitpicking from I want to go to a smaller mid-major.
Right.
Well, come on. This is terrible. People want to see these little guys.
Yeah, and the thing is, yesterday, like, San Diego State was in, and Boise State was the first 4 team out. Boise State beat San Diego State last night, and they didn't switch any position at us. Boise State is still out. Texas flip-flopped, or I should say leapfrog, Boise State because of the win over A&M, thinking that win was better than Boise State's win over San Diego State, which I disagree with. But and like I don't know how they formulate these wins and losses late in the season. How much one counts more than the other? Is an A&M a Texas win over A&M count more than a Boise State win over San Diego State? Probably, but Texas lost to Oklahoma last Saturday. They should, that took them out, and all of a sudden they're back in after 2 wins. So,
if Texas gets run out today by 15, what are they going to say? Well, they 4th game in 4 nights. Tennessee's pretty good. You got to keep them in there. Who cares? They ran out of gas. What? Come on, And again, we're picking on the SEC here because they got 14 teams going in, and half of them are under 500 in conference play. That's the problem. To me, that is the big problem to me. You're going to put in sub-500 Arkansas, Mississippi State, Georgia, Virginia, and Texas and Oklahoma. That's 6 teams that are under 500 in conference. And you're not going to take a team that has 2 losses in a conference. You still got to go on the road. I don't care. Road games are tough in conference play, no matter where you're at. That's why you're looking at 10-loss teams here in the SEC. So a team for a mid-major goes on the road, it's the same thing, if not even worse, because those are even smaller and more hostile crowds probably when it comes to getting on teams in these rivalry games.
I'm fine with teams like Vanderbilt and Arkansas getting in. Is Arkansas in or are they out? I'm not even sure about them right now. Anyway,
it should be because they're power rated higher than Mississippi State.
I think they are. So they're both 8-10. That's fine, but Texas and Oklahoma, they're 6 games under 500 in the conference. That's just too many. Like if you have a losing record by 2 or 3 games and you're playing a tough conference, I could see that. But man, you lose twice as more as you win in the conference. You can't advance.
You have to be 500 in conference to get in. You're 500 in conference. That's a good season. Like you get it. You win at home, you lose on the road. Maybe you steal something from the team. So 500 was kind of like now we're going 2, 3, 4, 6 games under. Because Auburn and Florida and Alabama are supposedly that good. Gosh.
I mean, I'd like to see Texas play UC San Diego. It'd be a great game to watch. I'd like to see who wins it.
They better get in, man. People would okay, they're all about the money and the fan bases. I get it.
Right.
You turn out when you get a little small school, people will be all over the small schools, all over those little guys.
Mm-hmm.
King D's in the house. He's got Arizona future 9-1 here to win the Big 12.
I mean, every once in a while, you get a low seeded team, somebody like Texas, from a major conference. We saw it with NC State last year. A low seeded team make a run through, but it's rare. Texas is not going to go far in this tournament. People would rather see UC San Diego come in as the underdog, as a possible Cinderella team, to make a story. People love that stuff. That's why these, fans who don't watch college basketball all season tune in to March Madness to watch these small teams make the big upsets and just have a dream come true for these kids. Whereas Texas, they're not going anywhere.
A&M's garbage. Gavin says, good pick on Arizona yesterday. Thinking of running them back today. Yeah, college basketball 2-1 yesterday, 37-29 with the free picks there with college basketball. So you like a little Arizona today, Gavin? Against Tech. See, I'm a Tech guy. I got a Tech future here, plus 475 here to win this one. So I need the Red Raiders to get it done for me. NOLA, my guy, Missouri and Florida. Keep looking at the total. 162.5. At least what I wrote down was 162.5. Florida's going for a 1 seed. Missouri wants to need to go fast. Both teams have gone over the last 10. Do both teams get to 80? What do you think about this total, man? What do you think about the game in general?
Yeah, I think it could be a very high scoring game. I totally see that coming with the runs they're on for sure.
I do have it listed here. Yeah, so it's a 9 is 162.5. I just did this literally about 3 minutes before the show started. I was loading up some games here, so that was one of them I did. Missouri and Florida. I have nothing on this one. It's it's sometimes you look at the screen. Sometimes you like something. Sometimes you don't. Just because they're tournament games on a Friday and it's the one game at 1 o'clock or 3, whatever. You don't got to jump into them. Right. VCU to win the Natty. I mean, it's a great number. Is it going to happen? They might not even make the tournament, though. That's the problem.
That is the problem. If they lose one of these next 2 games, that is a problem.
The problem is they might not make the tournament. They get upset by somebody, they're out.
So like I said, they're the cream of the crop of the conference. They shouldn't lose, but anything can obviously happen. Yeah. But they should make it. I don't know what they're projected as. What
I don't know what seed they're.
What seeding they're projected at? They're number 11.
They're projected as an 11 seed.
Yeah,
so they'll face. I have all my brackets printed out. I'll print out my brackets. So let's see who they're up against after they win today. I mean, they're up 12 with 2 minutes to go.
So they'll face a 6 and then eventually face a 3 seed.
Where's my A10? I don't even know where it is. There's so many. The poor trees in my neighborhood. They're all gone. They're all gone. The show's not fun without the Wendy's chili master Roshi. Listen, he's out tasting chili. Victor is not a college hoop guy. He's definitely definitely the football guy, Master Yoshi. That's what they call. This guy calls Victor with his little white beard.
Fu Manchu.
I had to look up who he was. Did Texas win over him? Was big in my opinion. Yeah, well, of course it's a big win.
A huge win. Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it.
Conference, yeah, but I mean. They're still 6-12. They're 18-14. They're going to be, if they lose today and they're 10-point underdogs, they're 18-15. They're going to come in and get an at-large bid over a team that's 28-3, 28-4. Get the hell out of here! I don't care who the other team played. They beat a conference of college basketball kids 28 times. There's no way that Texas should be in over San Diego or Irvine or VCU at all. I don't care.
And I totally agree that A&M win was huge. No doubt about it. But you also have to look at who they've lost. They lost to Oklahoma at home, Georgia at home, Arkansas at home, and at South Carolina. South Carolina had 2 conference wins this year. And they lost to them by 15 points. So you have to take with the good with the bad is my point.
I don't know. It's not right. It is just wrong. People are like, oh, it's Tech, you're SEC. This is the same kind of crap that's going to be in the college football playoffs in a year or two. When it's like, well, we got to put this 8-4 SEC team in over a 10-2 team out of the Big 12 because who they play, right? That's what it's going to be, Matt. We're going to get 8-4 Arkansas over a 10-2 K-State team because, well, K-State lost a championship game, but who they really play? They're not ranked because the SEC is going to have 13 teams in the top 25 to start the year, and everybody's going to go off that like, well, they lost to a ranked team. It's tough. Get the hell out of here. Freaking SEC crap. Screw you SEC fans in here. It's a nonsense. You're so good. You're so good. Where were you? You got beat. How did Alabama look in their playoff game? Looks like crap. Road games are tough in conference, but if you're a top-tier team, you're getting ready for the big tournament. So the conference – I'm not talking about the conference tournament losses. Exactly. It's the problem is with that, they should be taken with a grain of salt. But if VCU loses or if San Diego loses or Riverside or one of those teams that's 17-3 in conference, if they don't win their tournament as well as regular season, they're not getting in. But yet Texas wins. This is they won what? 2 games already in the tournaments, right?
Yep.
Or 30 games? What have they done here? Hold on. 2 games. So they've won 2 games in conference. They were 16-14. They should get in off a 16-14 regular season? No. They get to the finals. I'd say, all right, they're playing a lot better. They got to the finals there. They got 20 wins. I can make that case for them in that. Not now. Not if they lose by 10 plus here to Tennessee. Hell no. No way. VCU, yes. Yeah, Jesse. It's a little Matt Fargo action. He's got the second best hair next to you. You left. We had to find a guy with good hair. Martin Fargo. We got a lot of gray hair and a lot of bald guys here. We need the guy with a head of hair. Whiskey or Euclid? I like Euclid, didn't you? What do you got? You got anything in this one here? Man? You like anything?
I passed on that one.
Here you go. 2-142.
I can't figure out UCLA this year, man. I don't know. They've been a tough team to figure out. They're playing well now, though, and
they had lost. They had that road trip, and Cronin went crazy. Like we spend more time in New Jersey than Rutgers does, and they've gone like 11-2 or 11-3 since then. Something along those lines. So they're definitely playing pretty well. So
yeah,
this is the best conference basketball now. Arguably. I mean, again, I think it's extremely top heavy. Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, A&M, and then the rest of this crew here, and even A&M's 11-7 in conference. The other guys are 10-8, 10-8, 8-2. It's deep, but how good are the middle of the road teams that just beat up on each other and do splits? I mean, it's Auburn, Florida, and Alabama to mix. And if you want to put Tennessee in that mix, we've seen them kind of lags. But it's really a 3 or 4 team conference, and the rest of the teams just cannibalize themselves by winning. Oh, we win at home, we lose on the road, and that's why you got a bunch of guys at 10-8 and 8 or 8 and 10 and 6 and 12s and 2 10-8 teams or whatever they got. Because the middle guys split. They can't beat the good teams. The top teams have 3 and 4 losses between them. 15-3, 14-4, 13-5. Those are the good teams because they've lost to each other. And maybe one other game somewhere else. I'm not putting Mississippi and Mizzou and these teams in that category. There's no difference between, to me, Kentucky at 10-8 and Missouri, Mississippi, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Georgia, Virginia, Vanderbilt, Texas, Oklahoma. They're all within points of each other, from 6-12 to 10-8. I don't think there's a 3-point difference between any of them. Right? I mean, I would take any of those teams on a home court versus any other of those teams.
Yeah,
Matt.
Yeah, I'm not saying that SEC isn't the toughest. It is. It 100% is. There's no doubt about it. It's because it's so top heavy with 4 teams that are ranked in the top 6 in the net. You can't argue that. But once you get past, like Kentucky, Missouri, A&M, how deep can you go in these conferences? Seriously, because
there is no difference
because the number 19.
And the rest of these teams can get beat by any team.
Absolutely. Right. Once you get down to the past, number 8 or 9, these teams have 8 wins. Well, there are 8 teams between 6 and 8 wins or something like that. So those are all basically the same team. I'm not
Kentucky in there. I'm not putting Kentucky and Missouri and Mississippi even up there, even though they got 10 wins. I think there's no difference between them and Texas. I think they're pretty close. You're going to be 3 at home versus Texas or something? I will not be shocked if Texas beats UK, Missouri, or Mississippi in Texas.
At home, sure. I mean, Kentucky.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why these teams all have 8 losses and 10 losses between them because they lose on those games. These guys aren't. I mean, I'll take a team out of the Big Ten. The top team in the Big Ten can come in here and be competitive, and would beat some of these middle of the road teams. They're middle of the road teams, is what they are. They don't beat the best teams. They beat each other, and that's easy to do. That's why they're 10-8 and 8-10. because you split with the middle guys and you lose to the good team. Shocking. But yeah, we're going to get 14 teams out of this crap. It's crap. It's terrible.
Yeah, you look at the road record for some of these SEC teams, like you just pointed out. Missouri's 3-7.
Jesse's calling you out for your old profile pic, and look at Jesse's profile pic. Does it look like this? This is Jesse's pulling out a profile pic like yours from 10 years ago.
So there are four teams from the SEC projected to get in that are 2-7, 3-7, 3-7, 3-7 on the road this year. That's horrible.
Yes. And I mean, like, Texas is a 9.5-point dog today.
And all these teams have picked up a random, quad one win here and there.
Yes.
Sure, no doubt about it, but not multiples.
But that's what you would expect, a good team going on the road and getting picked off once. So when a team, I don't care that it's San Diego or Irvine or VCU, that goes 15-3 in conference play, that is a good season. And like you said, these guys all have losses on the road. Why is that? Because they're the same. They're all this. There's not a lot of difference. And you're gonna get 14 of these. 10 of them are average. 10 are average squads.
And Carolina's in. And North Carolina's in now too. But just so you know, they're clearly inside the bubble right now.
And we'll talk about NC in a second. Missouri is a 9-point dog today. Texas a 9-point dog in conference play, and they're good. You got to put them in there. They're 10-point dogs on neutral courts today.
Right.
Well, I mean, what is this? What is this game in Florida? Missouri getting 13?
Yep.
Texas is getting 12, 13 points to Tennessee. I mean, yeah, they're good. These guys are dangerous in March. Dangerous to who?
Right. You look at all four quarterfinal games, and the lines tell you the big disparity of the conference: 7.5, 9.5, 9.5, 12.5 for the lines for the 4 games today.
I mean,
that's absurd.
Line, I think, went to 10, right? Is it Auburn's line? What, 12.5?
12.5. Yep.
And what's the Alabama line? I think Alabama came down
7.5, right around there.
Right, yeah, and that was 9.5. It came down because people realized that Alabama is going to give up 85 points to whoever they play. They'll give up 75 to Utah Valley. No, I mean Dixie State. This is SEC fan. Texas lost to the bottom of the conference. Bad. Send them to the NIT. Really? And this comes down to and the SEC gets a lot of the hate. And if you're an SEC fan, you're like, oh, we're the best. Okay, maybe the best, but you're the best because of 3 teams. The rest, there's no difference than Clemson or Purdue or somebody out of the Oregon out of the Big Ten. There's not much difference between Kentucky and Oregon.
Yeah, Noel makes a great point. They lost to South Carolina. And it was 3 weeks ago. If it was beginning of the season, maybe you can let it slide, beginning of the conference season. But it happened 3 weeks ago. It was by 15 points. Like, that can't happen.
And it's always like, well, we got to see how they play down the stretch, right? That's a big key to it. All right, when you're a 10-point dog losing by 15 on a neutral, I don't know if that's worthy of getting in with 18 wins. Do we add 10? If we're college basketball, do we add 10 extra games to the schedule? No. Where are you getting 10 extra games from? These for who? For who? For the SEC to play nobody to play?
I will argue that the other side of that, because some of the schedules are unbalanced. Like with these big conferences now, you can't play each team twice. So how many teams does the SEC even have now? 18, 16? 18. Whatever the case 16. May be. Each team doesn't play each other twice, so it's unbalanced. Where some teams play maybe all top 4 teams twice, and another team only plays the top 4 teams 2 times or whatever, maybe 3 times. So it's definitely unbalanced. So the only argument I would have to create more games, start the season a little bit earlier, is to make the schedules even for all conference teams where they play each team twice. to make it completely even
I
throughout.
if that's the case, I can say yes to that. Like you should play you should have a home and home versus everybody in your.
Right.
Now, when these ridiculous conferences want to put 16 teams, so you're going to have, a lot of games here. You're talking 30 conference games, right?
Right. I mean, it's the same way with football. You can't do it with football, obviously, because of the shorter schedule. But like the SEC in football, it's unbalanced every year. Some teams get a big break, and some teams.
So if you're so good, you're going to play 30 games. Play all your teams. You start your conference schedule starts after Thanksgiving. You want to play a little tournament. You're so good. Yeah, let's see how good you are playing 30 games, and you're going head to head every other week for somebody. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see who goes 15-3 in those conferences. See how good they are. But the argument will be the same thing. Like, well, you're playing the SEC for 30 games or 15 games or whatever. Maryland on the money line today against Illinois. I don't know. I don't know why the line. Listen, I thought Maryland would be the team to go on a little run here in the Big Ten, but this line to me just screams to take Illinois today. I don't know if you got a thought on it.
No, I actually like Maryland. I do. Like you make a good point. The line is short. Illinois is healthy. They're healthy for the first time in a long time. But the starting five for Maryland, man, you can put them against any team in the country right now. They are so good. They are so good. Like they've been fortunate. They've been healthy. The starting five hasn't missed a game this year for the Terrapins. I think they're all scoring double digits. They got the double bye, so they have an extra day off for this game, which is important for the starting five. That how many minutes they do play. So I think for the opener at least, yeah, I do like Maryland on the money line.
Listen, Vincenzo, they used to do this back in the day. You might be a young cat. They used to have the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC, Big East Challenge. They'd have this early. It used to be on ESPN. They'd have these conferences playing against each other. It was a great doubleheader back in the day. Now, we can't afford to have those kind of losses. Easy now. They can, they used to do that. In-season tournament.
I think he was saying you should just have an NCAA tournament just for those two conferences and leave everybody else out.
Oh, all right. Oh, you're saying you should just have a big tournament instead?
I think that's what he meant. Yeah, I think
he did say that. You should have a big tournament instead.
He was being tongue-in-cheek, I think.
That's what the football is going to be, Vincent. That's what your college football playoff is going to be. It's going to be 6 Big Ten and 8 SEC, and then 2 other teams is going to be your playoffs. Exactly. It's terrible for crappy Big Ten play, crappy SEC middle of the road teams. It's a national holiday today, says Jesse Shule. I don't know.
There's a national holiday for national holiday for everything now. I don't know which one it is today.
So like Oreo Cookie Day or something. Fat Guy Day. I'm going to make it National Fat Guy and Nike Shirt Day. Oh, look at that. It just happened to be named after me today. Let's do some – where are these? All right, we talked about whiskey in UCLA, Texas and Tennessee. Marquette St. John's. What do you think about this team here? I'm a Johnny guy. I always bring up like Boo Harvey and Malik Sealy back from my mind. These Zendon Hamilton, Felipe Lopez years. I don't know. I feel like they're going to get picked off because of their free throw shooting eventually. But 3.5, oh man, do you take Shaka as a little dog here, or St. John's going to take it? It's come down. It was 4.
Yeah, I mean Marquette's a tough team to read right now. They barely snuck by Xavier yesterday. I think that was like their first quad 1 win in a long time. So they've been struggling against the good teams. Bringing up the St. John's free throw shooting, that's my only problem with them. I don't know, man. Pino's got them. It's
And I'm not Matt, like I'm not like, hey, let's go like 160 on money line stuff like that. Like St. John's to me is like a money line kind of team in these 4 and under games. Like they could just lose by, win by 2. Like they're one of those close encounters. Like I had Marquette over them the other day. Went to like double overtime. St. John's hitting like a layup at the time of fire. Like, well, like I can't trust them like that. I'd have to take Marquette, I think, at 3. I'd prefer more. I'd rather have it 4.5 than 3.5. But I don't know.
I'm looking at the free throw shooting. I don't think that's a huge difference. 73% to 69%. But Marquette doesn't get to the line. They're number 346 in free throw rate. So St. John's gets to the line more. So I think kind of evens it out a little bit. And even looking at the St. John's resume, like they've only played 9 quad 1 games, and they're 5-4. They're playing better of late, obviously, but
because you look at the quad 1, it's like you got to go to their beginning of the year kind of look for them. Who they play. Because coming out of here, who do you have? You got UConn and Creighton, right? Who are the top teams they play? Yeah. You're going to have to go, and even if you go to the beginning of the year, the Baylor game, they end up losing that one 99-98. Virginia's a win. That's not good. You lost to Georgia. I guess that's a good loss. And Georgia's. Where are the other big wins here for them? They don't have it.
Their best win this year against, if you want to look at net ranking, is against Marquette twice, who's ranked number 25. And
they got beat Marquette over UConn. See, I still think UConn's a dangerous team.
And they beat UConn twice, which is number 29. So UConn and Marquette are kind of neck and neck. So those are the 4 best wins.
Where's Creighton at?
Number 40. So they're all relatively right around the same. And right. St. John's is way up there, number 14. So they're head and shoulders above the rest when it comes to that. But yeah, their best win is against a 25 ranked Marquette team, and one took double overtime.
And again, their losses, you lost to Nova by 2 on the road. I'm not mad at that. You lost to Creighton by 1 on the road. Again, you're getting upset over 1-point road losses. I mean, no one's complaining about Texas's loss to freaking South Carolina. So I'm not worried about a 1-point loss.
Right. And this is a big reason why their net ranking is so high, because of their losses. Their losses, what they lost by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses, 4 losses by 7 points total. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
And I mean, one's an OT loss on a neutral. The other is a 3-point loss on a neutral. And you got 2 OT wins. Again, 1 on the road and 1 against Xavier. Again, close, tough kind of just the way the games are. Another reason why 3.5 to me, it's like, I don't want to lay it. Like they just play not sexying basketball. Although they are 19-11 against the spread. It's just something I don't want to do. I don't want to do with him. Let's see.
Pitino's a great coach, man. You just got people hate him, but you just got to admit it. He's a great freaking coach.
It's Pi Day today. I know tomorrow is the Ides of March. We know that. UCLA for King. Yeah, I like UCLA. So you bet St. John's first half before the free throws factor in. Yeah, no. I could see this being them losing a little bit. It's or a close game, I should say. Not losing the first half, but I'm not interested in Jesse. Not a fan of Greg Gard, says King D. Who else we got then? We got private chat. Oh, we have a NCAA bracket challenge, apparently, Matt. So here we go. I don't know if if it's in the description box for the YouTube video. I'll obviously have to start talking about this on Monday. It's a $1,000 first prize bracket, $1,600 prize pool, Sweet 16 premium pick prizes here. Okay, did not know that. I see it just came up here. $1,000.
That's awesome. Yeah, get in on that for sure. Free money, right?
If you like free picks, why wouldn't you try to get a free dime? Real money. Look at that. We'll have to tweet that out. We'll get that out on the Twitter world, and I will also retweet it out there as well. Steak in the VJ Day. That should be every day for most men. That'd be good for us. This is the Chip. Is this Chip Trimbus coming in saying something like this today, Jesse? What are you doing in here? It says the Big 12 is better than the Big 10. I would agree to that, I think. I mean, you know what? Houston is really good. Texas Tech is really good. And then I think you get in the same kind of mix of teams because you got Michigan State right now who's playing ridiculous ball. But then you have like everybody else after that kind of, all right, you got Arizona's pretty good. Kansas had a kind of a lost year. Is BYU for real? Like I think that kind of fits your Purdue, like Michigan falling apart down the road here, kind of thing. Are you that high on Houston and I guess Texas Tech? People really talk about Texas Tech. They're pretty good. Are they that much better than Michigan State and whoever you want to put second in the Big Ten? That's where I think it comes into if you think one's better than the other, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
Right.
Is Maryland better than Texas Tech, or is Illinois better than Texas Tech? Don't know.
I don't know. Texas Tech's better.
I think so too.
But and again, I like to see how they're kind of playing. Like this is everybody's going to have a loss coming in. Basically, you got teams hot coming in off a win, but if a team comes in 8-2 down the stretch and they lose in the semis, that doesn't really. I'm not worried about that. I was like, all right, we lost that, but who cares? You know, we were conference regular season champs. We lost in the finals or the semis, whatever. At that point, you got a team going to be like on a 15-game win streak. Those are tough to maintain. You know, it's almost like you kind of want to lose in the second round or something or before the finals and then be like, all right, guys, let's focus on the big picture here. You know,
right.
That's not for the big. That's for most of the big schools. Like probably think that way. Like, you know. Like Duke's got to be thinking, you know what? Let's just get through this here and refocus, get through the first, second rounds, and then hopefully Flag is healthy and we could concentrate on the next round. Like I'm interested how Duke goes into the tournament for round one. Do they send him out there to play a bunch?
No.
Like I think you should be able to beat whoever you got in the first round without Cooper Flag playing 36 minutes.
Absolutely. No. Keep him out. Keep him out until next Sunday or Saturday, whichever
BYU to win the tournament, he says this is throwing up all over themselves. They have in the past. They do lose. But a lot of that, Jesse, has been through – they always get some kind of rando injury in March, right? Like both guards go down. Somebody gets hurt in the game. BYU just looked so good yesterday. I think the world's on them. And did the line come down? I mean, it was 7.5 yesterday. Has it moved at all?
I don't believe so.
Hold on. I went on it before the show. It's in the chat here. It did come down. It came down to 6.5 before. So, I mean, it's not crazy movement, but
I see sevens. Okay, I see 6.1, 6.5 at DraftKings. You're right. Yep.
DraftKings
-115.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for the worth it. Jesse, listen. You know. What do you got on them? What kind of odds did you get on them there? I got a 4. I mean, it's probably pretty good because I got 425 on Texas Tech, who was a 2 seed. So you had to probably get like at least a 7, maybe 6-1, 7-1. I'm talking about yesterday's game. They were shooting the lights out yesterday. I mean, they were down at one point. Both teams were down. I think 10 in yesterday's game. 12-1. I'm thinking 7. You got 12-1 on it.
That was good odds. I mean, the problem is yesterday Iowa State was without 2 starters, so. They were late scratches, so you have to take that game with a grain of salt.
The night before off the game, I'm like, all right, they're healthy, and someone's like, they're hurt again. I'm like, well, they're hurt again. They just played. I thought they were ready to go. Ready to go here.
Yep. So they were out down 2 starters against Houston a couple weeks back, and actually they played well. They actually covered that game, but I was on the Cyclones yesterday, and I would not have touched them if I'd known these 2 guys were out and. You know, they were announced late.
Were they a 2.5-point favorite with their 2 guys out too as well?
Yeah, never went down because they were such late scratches that the markets didn't adjust in time.
No, I took that, but I took that the day before. I took that Saturday or Friday or I didn't. What the hell today? Today's Friday, so it had to be Wednesday. I took that Wednesday afternoon for that Thursday game.
What, Iowa State?
Yeah. After the line came up, it was 2.5, 2.
It was 2.5, right? Yeah, it didn't move at all.
So, ridiculous. All right, let's grab a couple more here. We got in the chat. We got Missouri and Florida. We kind of touched on this when we were bashing the SEC here. We didn't talk about this game too much. Purdue and Michigan. Any thought on this one?
Yeah, this is one of my premium plays, so I won't give out too much. But
All right. You
or,
don't give anything out.
maybe I will. If people are listening, good. I like Purdue. I think Michigan is in a tailspin right now. I think they've lost 3 in a row. I think Purdue is in a situation where they're coming off a harder than expected game last night. This is a big game for them. It's obviously big for both teams, but I like Purdue based on the fact that Michigan is just. I'm not sure what's going on with them right now. I'm just trying to look at their recent games real quick.
They've struggled. We're talking Michigan, right?
Michigan, yes.
Yeah, they've absolutely, totally wet themselves. 3 straight losses, 4 and 6. They beat Rutgers and Nebraska. 49-46. They beat Nebraska on the road. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I can't back them right now.
I mean,
the problem is you got Purdue coming off a game they had to give it their all last night. Like, what do they got in the tank after that one? You know, like, are they going to have it left in the second half?
Yeah, I think they'll be.
Sort of liked Purdue yesterday. I sort of liked them because I thought, hey, what does USC have after?
What does USC have left after double overtime? Exactly. When their starters played all but 30 seconds of double overtime.
Yeah.
But so, it's funny. It's funny. Like, if Purdue's offense had anything in overtime or anything left towards the end of the game last night, they should have covered that number. They held USC to 4 points over the last almost 5 minutes of the game because USC's legs just gave out. Towards the end of the game, they couldn't shoot the ball, but Purdue just couldn't capitalize on that, and they only won by 5. So, the one thing about Michigan is that you would have thought it would have been a good spot last week, even though it was in East Lansing against Michigan State, because Michigan State already had the conference locked up, right? And Michigan just did not show up. They got crushed. I thought that might have been a good spot for them to rebound, get right before the tournament, but they just didn't show up in that game. And we talked about this earlier in the season, how Dusty May's turned this team around with the offense, which was nowhere to be found last year. But their offense has been struggling down the stretch, big time. They're 49 points against Nebraska.
Not good.
No. No.
We got pretty good numbers here from KD's got some tournament stuff left. He's got Marquette plus 650. This looks all right here. I mean, he can beat St. John's. The Arizona one at 901 looks excellent. Irvine 170 again. You're getting the number 2 team there. Louisville, I don't like that Louisville. I'm a Clemson guy there. Miami, Ohio's alive, and Dartmouth goes tomorrow. We didn't even talk about Ivy. Ivy said, you know what, the hell with this. Let's just have our best 4 teams play. We'll just do a one-day. We'll play Saturday and have a championship game on Sunday. Hit the books, kids.
Right.
Who cares?
We got to get this over.
You're going to get knocked out. You're going to get knocked out in a playing game anyway. Who cares?
Right.
Not basketball anymore. Foggy Wonderland. Someone on the show told me this. His play here was on George Mason today. I know nothing about George Mason. It's a really validity to what this guy said. George Mason versus George Washington. Listen, this game did not jump out at me at all. I think it was a 3. It was 3.5 last night, Mason and Washington. I think they split this year already, if I remember correctly, because I did briefly look at it and say, like, how are these, what's going on in this game, just when I was going through the conferences. Oh, no, Mason has won 3 in a row. Look at this. So he loves George Mason today. Why wouldn't he, right? They won 53-50 on February 5th, 80-77 in overtime this year. So, yeah, it's a great play. It's a 3-point fave on a team they beat by 3 points both times they played. I want to take Washington. I want to take GW here just to be against this guy. I don't even know who he is. Matt Fargo left. He's like, I can't even talk about George Mason, George Washington. They're 2 crap teams. He's like, who talks about those guys? Let's talk about James Madison instead. Maybe he likes him as a president. Mason, I'm going to take GW on principle. I mean, let's see. GW beat Fordham yesterday. Mason's rested. Respect to Petty. Listen, I look at it as Foggy, like I said. I looked at I just pulled up how they played against each other, right? That's one. When I do my little printout of the rotation, I write down the lines, see what kind of jumps out with me against my number. That didn't move the needle at all. Looking at their numbers for the year, I mean, they're 2 3-point wins. They won by 3 both games. Is that something I want to run to as a lock or whatever this guy wants to call it? I don't know. I find those kind of terms. Listen, if I do a show and people start talking about, hey, thank me later. This is a lock. It's this and that. You know what I do? I say, I get the pen out, I write it down, see how they do. Foggy Wonderland. Come back next week. We'll talk about George Mason and George Washington. You don't come back next week. Leave a comment on this show live after, or I will. And even on like Monday or Tuesday, we do shows. Hard to beat a team twice. Well, they got to beat them 3 times. But this is not like NFL kind of stuff. College basketball, I disagree with that though. It's not hard to beat a team 3 times because in these spots you have the same kind of coaches, the same kind of strategies and stuff like that. So sometimes the coach just kind of knows what the other guy can do and he doesn't adjust or doesn't match up well. So I kind of disagree a bit in those kind of spots. On just the whole blanket statement of tough to beat a good team 3 times. I mean, are they a good team? I mean, they're 21-11. The other team's 24-7. They're okay, mid-majors. They get their 20 wins. It would be if they're crushing them. You win by 17. You win by 10 on the road. I'd be like, all right. You think the other team might want to show up, right? Like you're embarrassed. You lost by 3, 53-50, and you lost in overtime by 3. To me, there's not much separation. So they're right there. They're a charge call away from turning the momentum. It's a foul shot. It's this and that. And exactly, in this spot, it is hard because you play 2 close games versus these guys. I'm going to look at 53-50. George Mason, 10 of 18. I mean, 56% from the free throw line. Cost you that game. The other team was 9 of 15. I mean, they're not even these guys can't even hit free throws. You're going to run to take these kind of teams? Oh, yeah. 17 of 27. The free throw shooting for George Washington there on the road. Bad. George Mason, 22 of 37. So neither team is good from the free throw line. Again, I look at those things. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I stick with GW over George Mason there? Neither team hits free throws. 2 nail biters. I'm on the neutral getting 3. Okay. I'm going to ride GW. There you go. Forget the other post. Well, listen, I'm just saying, you asked for my point on it. It's 4.5. So the line has gone up. And I'm sure it's the thought process of, well, they beat them twice already. Why not do it again? They're 2 3-point games. That's not dominant. And as bad as George Washington shot the ball, George Mason shot the ball just as poorly, 40%. I look at that and think, why not an under? Why not an under in those games? Vincenzo, which baseball team do you think is the most poised to make a jump and become a real contender? There you go, Vincenzo. Vincenzo and the rest of the chat and all you watching here on YouTube or Twitter, the X, we covered all 6 divisions. AL, NL, East, Centrals, West. They're all done. They're up here on Winner Circle YouTube channel. Go check them out. I'm sure Doug is going to put out some articles on the Gamblers World website as well, so head over there. So we were just talking about this, and now Matt's here. I know he's going to want to jump into who's ready to talk baseball. We can do baseball. We're going to have some baseball shows coming up because, well, I send out the schedule on Sunday, so I will definitely have baseball scheduled up. Who cares about the Sweet 16? We got Tampa Bay versus the White Sox on a Tuesday afternoon. But seriously, who's jumping? Let's be honest. I think you could go on a lot of shows, and a lot of people are going to talk about it, and just in this sports betting world. Who's the team, Matt? I'm going to throw. I'm going to say nationally because you're just going to go nationally. You know exactly what I'm thinking about because we've all talked about it. It's the Cincinnati Reds. I think everyone's going to think the Cincinnati Reds are that team that's going to go from nowhere to somewhere. Am I wrong to think it's the Reds?
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier. Was that last week? Yeah. Good young team, good young staff. Got some good additions to it. And I think we mentioned, or I mentioned, Terry Francona is a big difference maker in that team. He's a legitimate manager, and he's done it before. And he's out of retirement now. He's got a project for him, and I think they'll be fine, especially in that division. Everybody's all over the Cubs. It's already locked down. They got it. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. The Cubs staff is great. Don't get me wrong, but I think Cincinnati can give them. Yeah, I think Cincinnati can give them a run for their money because all the other teams are kind of going to be down. The Brewers will be good. I don't think it'll be as good. St. Louis is going to be going through rebuilding, and the Pirates are the Pirates. So
they're going to get wins in their division. The wins are there.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I think the thing is who's going to become a contender? Who are we talking about? Like, the Red Sox are going to be a contender? I guess you could say that because they weren't that great last year. You had the Yankees and Orioles there, but I thought they had a talented team, the Red Sox. And I say this as the Yankees guy. I like kind of their young pitchers. I like their young hitters. But I think that if we're talking a totally down kind of team, the only one to look at would be the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, I can't come in here and say, the Dodgers are going to – or not the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks. I think I like the Diamondbacks last year to be there. So this is the team. If you're going to go, and it's a trendy team, everybody's talking about it. You bring in Brady Singer to go with Hunter Green, with Dolo Abbott. That's a nice little staff there, and you have a bunch of young hitters. That's where I would be for my who's a sub 500 team to make some noise. Now you want to go with who I think is going to upset and shock. It's the Diamondbacks for me. It's the Diamondbacks. Could they knock off the Dodgers for the division? I don't know about that. Can they knock off the Dodgers in the playoffs? I think they can. I mean, that Dodger team, look at that lineup. Yeah, you got some Hall of Famer guys, good. They're all over 30 except for one cat. All right? Are they all going to stay healthy? I don't know. And I don't wish ill will on injuries on people. But that staff has a history of guys getting hurt and pitching 5 innings for 22 starts. I'm not sold on that team to be laying those kind of numbers. Live bet St. Louis here. King D's on St. Louis. I don't even know what's going on in these games. We got St. Louis trailing already here? This game even start yet?
No, I don't think it's tipped yet.
What are we doing there? Are you live? You're pretty ahead of time. Marlins have a history of winning World Series while tanking. Yeah, that ain't happening right now. They do. I don't know if they have a history while tanking. I don't know about that because I remember their team that beat the Yanks had pretty good players on it. Again, some guy named Miguel Cabrera was playing for them. Josh Beckett. Now, you want to say the Nationals? You want to say the Nationals might take a little jump here, Foggy Wonderland? I think Matt Fargo would agree with the Nationals. We kind of like that little Nationals team to do something, maybe.
Take a little jump, sure. Not a big jump.
Yeah.
I don't see that. Not in that division.
If things go off the cliff for the Mets pitching staff and the Braves don't hit again, the Nationals may very well sneak into a wild card spot if things really break right for them.
Yeah.
I think a 500 record for them is a great season. That's a good step. 500. The Pirates, the Royals were in the playoffs last year, so you can't really say they're going to go. They could have beat the Yankees last year. Those games are
I guess right. I guess it depends on what your definition of a contender is. Is it a team that's coming out of nowhere, or is it a team that was in a wild card spot last year and could make that jump up to a division title and then go further? And I think the Royals are a great example of that. Yeah. If that's the way you want to go, sure.
I don't see the Pirates. Now, you got Skeens, who I think we'll see how long he lasts. Why do I feel like he's not going to last the whole season? Now, they got Jared Jones, who I like. The lineup is terrible. All that being said, it's a Foggy and Vincenzo here. I could see getting down on taking the Pirates a little bit in April to win some games. That'd be fine. If I'm going to be getting plus 135s, 140s with these guys. Now, I'm not going to be rolling Skeens games because they'll be favored in that. The other guys, when they're playing, taking 140s, I will probably look to take the Pirates a couple times. King D likes the Marlins. King D enjoys pain, apparently. They are not going to be good. Who's even left on that team? Jake Berger's gone. They got rid of everybody. Brian De La Cruz is gone. Like, Alcantara's back. The best thing about Alcantara, well, he's like over 30. Like, he's not like some 25-year-old coming off Tommy John. He's 30 years old.
Is he that old? I didn't know that. I thought he was pretty young still.
No.
Did you have a young pitcher on their staff who was a really big prospect who kept calling up last year?
They have some young Cabrera. I had a Cabrera Cy Young ticket last year for that guy. He gets hurt. I mean, Yuri Perez was another young pitcher.
Yuri Perez, that's what I'm thinking of. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, they got some young guys, but what do they do? What do they do? Can you win? Can you win something here? I don't know if they can. They, I mean, they're full blown. I don't even know what the other game. They're not even. I don't even know what they're doing. Last year, I was like, wow, I kind of like them. They had Araz, they had Brian De La Cruz, they got Berger. I'm like, they got some young guys. Can somebody take a step forward? Yeah, nothing happened. The offense was terrible. The team was terrible. No way. That's a no-go for me here. No thank you. With them.
I didn't do any of the American League with you guys. Well, what was your take on the Angels? They've improved. So I don't think
they're terrible. I didn't bring
them up. You didn't bring them up, all right.
I mean, what are we going to say? I mean, the Angels brought in pieces to their team, and Jorge Soler and Kikuchi and these guys. Like you're fine tuning a World Series contender with professional hitters and guys for back end rotation. Like that's how they built their team. Like they were fine tuning for a championship run. That's what I look at their team. Right. That's
I'm not a fan. I was just wondering what you guys thought because I haven't listened to your the podcast on the West yet. If it's even out, I don't know if it's out yet. I wasn't sure what your guys' take was.
Yeah, that was for me. That was what I was thinking. It's a team you see like Jorge Soler. Who else did they bring in? They brought in another kind of
brought in that catcher.
Travis Denard. Travis Denard. Yeah. So you're bringing in guys like veterans who you think are final pieces of teams, right? That's like, all right, we got to kind of bring in a little leadership. Let's do this and that. Try to get a professional hitter off the bench we could turn to and pump. That is not what this team needs. I mean, this is. I said this time and time again 2 years ago when it was time to trade Ohtani, and it was a spot of if we trade him, let's trade him with Rendon, clear up Rendon's $120 million contract because Rendon's making $40 million a year. People don't realize he's making a ton of money. Trade them both together and say, hey, give me. I don't care. You want to give me some bottom tier 4A player who's going to do nothing. I just got to get out of this contract, right? So you clear up that $40 million from that. And then, okay, people are going to be upset there's no Ohtani. You just cleared $40 million off your books. You had $20 million from. Now you got $60 million for Ohtani. Now you could be in the hunt for Ohtani. But no, what did the manager say? Well, we want to put, or not the manager, the owner. We got to keep people in the seats to keep them, have some fun here. Have some. You having fun? Like, are you making money? Are you having fun? Or are you trying to win games? Like, we talk about betting, right? You want to have fun, you put in a 15-leg parlay. All right, I get it. You want to have a little fun. Baseball's not fun. It is a business you want to win. Or at least the you want to win, but I guess the business side is he just rather have cash in his pocket than to trade Ohtani and Rendon and clear out the payroll and then go back and try to sign Ohtani again. Because as much as he said, I'll go to the Dodgers, if they offered him 50-something mil, why wouldn't he stay with the Angels? I mean, you could have brought in the other Japanese pitcher you're friends with because you had money now because you just freed up a long-term deal that was tons of $115 million for Rendon. And you damn well know a team like the Yankees or the Mets would have swallowed that up to have a shot at signing Ohtani. They wouldn't care about swallowing a bad contract because the eye was on, I'll offer you whatever to stay here. Someone would have done it. That's my Angels rant. Besides the fact that I love the old school little uniform, and it was just like the state of California with the Angels thing as a on the card back in the day. Like that is just a dumb move. Like sometimes you got to do some crazy stuff like that and say, we got to do something here. Where are you going? You got Trout and Ohtani, the two best players in baseball. You win 70 games a year. You win 70 games. So you know what? Trade the guy. You're not doing it. What are you holding on to him for? Get something. Free up some cash. Why?
Yep.
Why Artie Moreno? Explain to me. What is your game plan? I need to know. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You got me on the Angel stuff. So go ahead.
No. I'm glad I brought it up.
I'm not even an Angel fan. It's as frustrating as a baseball fan.
Just going back to the contender thing, I guess. Look at the American League. A team like maybe Tampa Bay can make a move. I don't know. I just don't see these teams that have been near the bottom the last few years making any big moves this year. Move as in up the standings, not moves as in trades. Like, I'm a big Blue Jays fan. Obviously, they're not going to do anything this year. I don't think Tampa's going to do anything. Obviously, the White Sox are trash. Oakland's going to be actually not Oakland. The Athletics are going to be trash again. Yeah. So if you want to look at contenders, I think you have to look at teams that were on the cusp of a division title that didn't quite make it. KC, Detroit are two that come to mind for me, anyways. Maybe Seattle.
You mentioned Tampa, and see now that kind of team kind of sticks out to me now because you have the Yankees, which they're in trouble. All right, you still have Fried and Rondon. I get it, two good starters, but your staff is in trouble, and I am not sold on that lineup. Okay, it's Judge, it's Jazz, and you got Belly. That is not. Why do I think Tampa? You got McClanahan back. Can they maybe come in and steal a little thunder from the Red Sox here in this division? Especially the Red Sox might start a little slow. They're missing a couple guys early, so they could very well start slow. Maybe that even opens the door for your Blue Jays to say, you know what? Wow. No, I mean, listen, man. They could be like, they could have been sad to start, right? Like, okay, this is not it doesn't look good for us, right? Yanks go out and sign Fried. We're in trouble. The Boston gets Crochet. They bring in Breggy. It looks like they're making moves. Now all of a sudden you got some injuries here. Maybe Gaussman and Barrios and Bass are like, you know what? We start pretty good here. We get out to a little lead. We might be able to cruise to this division. Maybe Vladdy's like, you know what? All right, this could be our little year here. We got a couple down teams. We got Tampa working their pitchers back from Tommy John surgeries. Maybe nobody's thinking about us. Like the Orioles, Grayson Rodriguez already shut down. Where's their pitching staff? What's going on? I mean, Cade Povich. We're excited about Cade Povich. He's supposed to be the next big thing. I mean, come on, Orioles fans. The lineup's great. I guess you better win every game 7-5 because I do not love your staff. Kyle Bradish. What are we doing?
Yeah. Losing Corbin Burns was absolutely huge for that team. I mean, they can outscore anybody, but some games are up to score 9 or 10 runs a game to do so, and they can't keep that pace up all season, in my opinion. And like you said about Toronto, Toronto's no worse than they have been the last 3 years, right? And they're not given a chance this year. Last year they were plus 425, I think, to win the division. Now they're plus 1,300, which is a huge trouble. It's like they already lost, half their team, which they haven't. So, I'm pessimistically optimistic on them. I'm a bored pessimist, I guess, because that's how all my teams are. I never have any hope for any of them. So I've lived life like this for a very long time now. I think with what's going on in that division, I think it's wide open now. Toronto has to get off to a better start than they did last year. They started absolutely awful. They just obviously couldn't recover. But like I said, a team like Boston, they're starting off a little hurt themselves, and the Yankees with that lineup, and now the Garrett Cole's out, and
yeah,
I think it's a wide open division once again. Yeah.
So VCU advances to the semis. Michigan State advances to the semis. We got Kennesaw playing with an upset over top seed Liberty here, up 4. Auburn up 7 early here. Wichita and Memphis tied. Both tied up here. Grambling out to a lead here. And I took Grambling yesterday. They were plus 3.5. I grabbed them. I was like, you know what? They played on Tuesday. They won as an 8 seed upset. They played Wednesday, knocked off the 1 seed Southern. They were off yesterday, while Alabama State had to go play a game. So I got a 8 seed because, they do this. They switched up thinking, all right, we'll give our 1 seed a little break, right? This is a conference. You head down here to the SWAC and thinking, let's hope our 1 seed doesn't get knocked out of the tournament. We'll give them like a day off, another day off, and then, no, they get knocked off, and now your 8 seed is on the cusp of getting to a championship game here. Good for them. So I was like, you know what, 3.5, and then it reopened in the morning, and the last night's at 2.5. I'm like, you know what, I wanted that extra half point because I thought it'd be a kind of a close game. So I ended up not pulling the trigger on some of the places, but I graded it for myself. I was like, I had to take it. I had to take it. Low shy, although I did have to take St. Louis, and they're not looking good now, down 15-8 here, 7 minutes into the first half. Well, now 10 down here, basically, but it is what it is. A lot of baseball chat in here right now. Nathan Thurna took Ole Miss, 13 points. Again, we talked about these teams earlier, about the SEC. Every one of these teams is basically a 10-point dog here today. I mean, the Tennessee line opened at 9.5. The Florida opened at 9.5. It came down a little bit, I think. Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Neutral court games, double-digit faves. But somehow these are all good teams. They got a shot to go to the Sweet 16. No. We're plus. We're going to wrap this up.
Well, one more game to talk about quickly. I don't think we mentioned. I have no interest in this game, but what's your opinion on Clemson-Louisville? I think the winner of that game wins the championship.
I hope it's Clemson. I got a Clemson future here. I think Clemson could be a 14. I like Clemson a lot. And again, it could be just because they had already beaten Duke, and that kind of weighs in my head. But they're a good squad. Again, it's somebody nobody talks about. Nobody talks about them. It's all Michigan State. It's the SEC Big Three. It's Houston. It's Duke. Clemson beat Duke. Duke beat Auburn. I'll take a shot on Clemson. They've beaten again. It's a team that's beaten everybody who they're supposed to beat. They win some games. I like Clemson. And number 2, Louisville. Where were these guys last year? They were terrible, right? Like they were like, what happened to the Louisville program? New coach, totally changed the attitude, the culture, everything about the squad. They look like they're back to being a good Louisville team from what we've seen in years past. So, but I'm with you. Duke should definitely just mail it in for this conference tournament. We got to go for the.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I get getting guys ready. If he can't play, they want other guys out there playing, but this should be not a priority at all.
If they lose today, they'll still be a number 1 seed. It won't matter. It won't be the overall number 1 seed, but I don't think they were going to get that anyways. So
no, whoever came out of the SEC would probably get that.
Auburn's going to get it. Well, if Auburn wins, sure. Yeah.
It would have been interesting though, because Duke did beat Auburn, so Duke should have been like, "What do you mean? How are we not the number 1 seed?" But now I think they should move them to the 2 because they're going to probably catch a loss here, and maybe they don't. Who knows? Maybe they come out and just roll, and it's like, wow, they are that good. But we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
All right, listen. We mentioned before $1,000 contest up right now. GamblersWORLD.net. We'll also tweet it out on the X World if you're there. Maybe if there's a link, Do we have a link, Jim? We can throw right in the live chat for people on YouTube to get if we have some kind of link to take them to the page there. Or, this is for, again, the tournament. We might not have it set up yet as a landing page yet, though. Be sure to visit our regular Winner Circle YouTube channel, daily free picks there, NBA, college hoops, soon to be baseball. We got you covered. Articles and more at GamblersWORLD.net, our sponsor. Doug Upstone, Shooting a Rock, NBA and college hoops, soon to be Major League Baseball. I don't know what the baseball is going to be. Swinging a stick. I don't know. Taking balls in the dirt. I have no idea what it's going to be called. Something witty. Yeah, anyway, that's getting a little wacky there with our names. But for Matt and myself, hit the like button on the way out. Back on Monday, we'll be talking some bracket action, probably on Tuesday as well with Brian and Matt because they're not with me on Monday. We'll be talking about the brackets and college hoops all week long. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Awesome.
Happy Friday. Take it easy, man.